Hello to all you floaty boaty lovers. On today's episode we have an amazing animal encounter coming up for you guys of the snaky variety. But before all of that, let me give any newbies who might be watching a little bit of background. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Becca, one part of the Crobot team, and alongside the other part, Mr. Chris, we bought a 60-foot narrowboat named the Whistling Wombat. So the whole idea was to set sail on this mega cruising adventure around the UK waterways, but little did we know, not that long after buying her, we discovered a big old watery mess under the floorboards. But worry not, we've simply rescheduled our cruising plans for the minute, and now we're embarking on a totally different journey, and that is DIYing the living out of this boat. So come along with us and see how we progress as we move towards our dreams of cruising the UK's river and canal systems. Today's task? The kitchen. Let's go! Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to today's episode. Now on this one I've got a bit of bad news to share with you, and that is that you are stuck with me, I'm afraid. The gobby half of the Crobot team is not here today, he is away, so not only am I going to be grabbing the tools and getting a whole load of jobs ticked off the list while I've got a bit of peace and quiet, but I'm going to be taking you with me with the camera as I go. I'll try and add a little bit of spinny tool stuff in there just so you can all get your fix. Maybe even flap a marigold around, you know, we'll see how it goes. But let's get cracking. So since we've got another boiling hot day here at Crobot Towers, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to do a little bit of painting, because with any luck it'll dry pretty much instantaneously. So a little while ago now we made a couple of copper pipework additions for the kitchen. We made a pan rack, a kitchen roll holder and a shelf, and now copper being the way it is, if you don't put some sort of lacquer on it, eventually it'll start to turn green and all sorts of funky colours. So it's one of those jobs I just haven't gotten around to. So I'm going to crack on with that. So I'm just going to start off by giving it a little polish. Then we give it a buff. Do you hear that? I think it made like I made my own instrument whilst buffing. So here we have it, shinier than a bald man's head, or at least some might say. Sorry Dad. Look at the gleam on that. So next step is to whack some of this stuff on there. It's really warm, so hopefully it'll dry pretty much instantaneously, making the whole process a bit better. Right, so now those two beauties are lacquered up and drying off in the sun, I'm going to turn my attention somewhere else. So there's loads of like little bits around the boat, which as any sort of home DIYer knows, you sort of get part way into a job and then there's always like these last little finishing bits that you never get round to doing. Well, there's bloomin' loads of them on the boat really, so I'm going to tackle some more of those, and one of them being this. So as you can see, when I made the tap, we actually lacquered those two little flangey things. I think that's what they're called. I just like to say the word flange. We actually lacquered those up to protect them, because put them on initially, they rusted. So we lacquered them, put them on, and lo and behold, they've rusted again. So I think actually what I need to do is use some hammerite to paint them black, and that should hopefully protect them from water getting on them, because inevitably you're going to get sploshes around the sink. When Chris comes along doing his crazy ass dishwashing thing that he does and like soaks the entire kitchen, and they suffer. So we just need to get something on them which will waterproof them and protect them and stop them looking so crap, because they're letting down my little tap, man. So off for a wrench. Someone's a bit protective about their plugs. So I've tried my old wrench and these are not coming undone. So what I'm going to do is mask off really carefully around the worktop and just paint them in situ. Don't know if this is a good idea or not, but at this point I'm not really sure what else I can do, so we'll give it a go. So in all my wisdom, I just had an epiphany moment where I thought, hang on a minute, why don't I actually unscrew the flanges from the wood? I can prop them up with something, so they'll just be a lot easier to paint without getting anything on the wood, and do it that way. It's the heat. The heat is getting to me. I am boiling. Who would want to hang out in a steel tube when it's like 30 degrees outside? So I've unscrewed it. I'll just prop it up out the way a bit more, tape underneath, and then get the hammer right on it. My dad always used to tell me off for going way over the top when sellotaping up presents, and now I think he might have a point. I think as well, just another point to mention, when I do reattach these flanges, I'm going to get myself some better screws that don't just rust away, like, I don't know, maybe stainless steel ones are the ones to use, or brass perhaps actually, because these little fellas that have been holding this flange in on the cold water tap which we've been using are crustier than an old man's shoe. There's a reason why Chris is the one who does the flippy stuff. They all are painted up. I think tomorrow what I'll do, once they're fully dried, is just paint the underside of them as well. Might as well get them fully coated. Right, so the next job is we've got a little bit of trim to put back up in the kitchen from where we tiled the back wall. And they've just been hanging around for ages. It'd probably be like a 2-minute job, but you know how it goes. Is that doing it for you guys? There's no way I'm flipping it that way because I know what's going to happen, because I know how clumsy I am, and this thing will probably just come down, clonk me on the head, I'll die on the kitchen floor, and that will be the end of Crobot as you know it. So just get a little bit of spinning action in for you for anyone who's got spinning withdrawal symptoms. This is some awkward hammering, like, talk about jaunty angles. I've had to move me maple syrup out the way. Done! On to the next one. Done! Anyone for a strong brew? 3, 2, 1, lift off! God, that's hot! Morning guys, I've woken up today. It's a beautiful day, but my word, is it going to be a sweaty one. It is hot. So let's see what mischief I can get up to today without melting. My lacquered pipes from yesterday seem to be doing alright. They look good, so I'll bring the pans back up. So I don't know if any of you guys remember a few weeks ago when we'd taken the boat out, I had this amazing sighting of a snake swimming across the river. Chris of course didn't believe me to begin with until I came forward with some hardcore evidence. Well, you'll never guess what happened today. Lo and behold, I'm at the boat. My folks had come down to give us a bit of a hand, and my dad glances out the window only to see another snake right next to the boat. And this time I got footage. these outside last night with my pipes in, drying from lacquering. Look how rusty they've gone, just overnight, and it wasn't even damp. Strange. Right, so I'm just going to finish off painting the little underneath sides of the flanges that I started yesterday. And then they can dry off and I can put that all back into place. Well, that wasn't a good start. My brush had gone a little bit crunchy, so as I was putting some paint on it and just easing it away on the edge of the tin, this has happened. After all my efforts to safeguard not getting any on the wooden bench, I'm just going to try and wipe some of it off now and hope for the best. I'll just have to sand it off. Right, I'll try that again. Okay, you crazy cats, I'm on to the next job. I am ticking off jobs like nobody's business. I'm just trying not to combust or melt in the process. I'm determined to use this time that I've got here on my own to just crack on and get a load done. So, the next job of the day is a bit more copper work. So I don't know if you remember a while ago, Chris had a wee go at polishing the copper in the kitchen. Alright, Mrs. Marigold?
Don't want to get it on my fingers.
Concentration and just look of joy on your face.
Well,
doing it.
I think I'm done. But I know Becks wants to get it every little bit really nice and beautiful,
No,
so I'm sort
not
of going
at all.
over it loads, but there's loads of little bits, but I don't, you know what, you want every bit to be shiny, don't you?
No, not at all. The only bit...
I've done all this countless times. She ain't having it.
That's good enough. You don't... Might be easier for me to do that bit with my nails.
I've got no nails.
I was really impressed with his efforts, but having looked a little bit closer, I have realised I'm going to have to polish it again before I can varnish it because, well, putting it lightly, he's you can tell where his attention started to wane, shall we say. So let's get going with that. There you go. I don't know if you can see that. There's lots of black splodginess. Let's get polishing! The saying, if you want something done properly, do it yourself, springs to mind. Okay, so the polishing is done. So now, in the words of a lesser known B-side from Missy Elliott, wait for it, get your buff on, get your buff on, get your buff on, get your buff on, watch yourself, get your buff on. Get your buff on, get your buff on. Very aware that all the hatches are open and people are walking past hearing that, so that should be interesting for them. Just an ordinary day, I was making my way. Who would have known I spent my life? But that's a good workout for your arms. Super mega winning ticket. I was feeling kinda wicked when I heard my boss prove right. Someone call the shiny police because damn, that thing is glossy. Right guys, it's time to paint. There's going to be more lacquer in here than a hair rock music video from the 80s. Oh yeah. See, this is the thing with Chris away, you just have to deal with my weird sense of humour and exceptionally dodgy jokes. And faux pas, slips of the tongue too. So on the note of lacquer, are there any hair metal, hair rock lovers out there? And if so, what's your favourite? Let us know in the comments. We love a bit of rock over here. Watching Glastonbury last night, having a good old boogie to Guns N' Roses. I don't know if there's any other fans out there. They're getting a lot of jip really because people forget that the 80s was quite a long time ago really, and a voice like Axel's is probably not going to withstand over 40 years, so let us know what you think guys. The good stuff about this is that it looks awful when it goes on and you think, oh bugger, after all that hard polishing I've gone and muffed it up, but it looks bad when it goes on, but then it just sort of blends in. So it starts like this, you can see that it looks a bit sort of mottly, but come the end Okay, you're just going to have to take my word for that one because I can't get the damn thing to focus. Is anyone else ambidextrous when they paint? Like, I've just discovered this. I noticed I was using both my left and right hands, so that's kind of cool. Ambidextrous DIYers out there? Anyone? Shout out. Things you learn about yourself when you're DIYing. So that's a lacquer job that Alice Cooper would be proud of. So whilst that's drying, I'm just going to screw back up the pan rail because that's all nice and dry, so I can hang my pans back up. I guess we forgot to put the butter in the fridge, just to demonstrate how hot it is in here. We have butter wee instead. Oops. So it's time to get down with the flange. Let's reattach these guys back into the worktop now that the hammerite has dried. I've dug out my trusty odds and sods screw box, so hopefully there might be some brass babies lurking in there that I can use. Let's have a look. I'm in luck. There's some brass babies in here. Hopefully these will do the job. I need my little stumperoonie to get to the screw at the back because it is a tight space. Done! So now that my shiny shelf is all dried after its mega lacquer session, all that's left to do is actually attach the wooden shelving parts to it. So I've got some nice copper pipe clips. I'm going to use those to just kind of line the shelves so that we can actually put stuff in them. Let's have a look. Maybe I'll have to get the... So I've tried to weight the shelf down with the tea caddies and stuff just to try and hold it in place while I'm doing this. Let's see how we get on. I'm sure once I get the knack it'll be alright. Right, I'm being really silly and I've rethought it and thought of a much easier way to do it. So what I'll do is I'll firstly, mark my holders and I'll sort of drill them, and then it should be easier to then sort of screw up, because half of the problem is I can't get any power behind it because I'm at a weird angle and everything. So let's see how that goes. Sometimes I really amaze myself with my own stupidity. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. This is a much easier way, she says. The screws are so tiny, I'm all like fingers and thumbs. They're so fiddly, they're like teeny. Excuse my gruesome fingernails, like evidence of hard work and not a shower yet today. There's one. Won't make you watch all of this because it must be like watching paint dry, but I'll just show you this. I've got a piece of pipe, just spare pipe. I can just push it through and make sure they all line up like that, so I'm not putting them in wonky. I'll check back with you in a minute when they're all done, or several minutes. Getting into the flow of it a little bit now, she says. Just, I think, without the pressure of the camera, I managed to find my flow with it a bit. So I'm going to demonstrate that, and it's probably going to go wrong, but let's see. Yay! So all three shelves are now clipped up. And what I'm going to do is remove one screw from each side of the clip so I can actually then attach them in situ. I'll leave one in, makes it easier, and I'll take one out, like so. And fling it around the thing. Happy days, should be able to get it on. I think inevitably this was always just going to be difficult, no matter what. Who would design such a thing? Huzzah! Oh, there she is, in all her glory. Dropping some spices. Back, everyone. I haven't seen her for 2 weeks. Hey, have you got a little nest? So we've got some swan and duck food. The sky is looking ominous over there. I'm wondering if she's now got a nest somewhere. Although I don't know if she would leave it to come back. It's all very strange. She's been off on some sort of adventure though. Go on, go have a drink. Good girl. Yeah, there it is. Rainy, rainy time. I've just had to dash in out of the rain and just abandon little Jemima Sopranella out there. You know, it's alright for her. She's pretty well adapted, but me not so much. Done!